Cristiano Ronaldo puts opposing player in headlock in Al Nassr loss. Cristiano Ronaldo is no longer playing soccer in Europe, but he still knows how to dominate headlines on a pivotal UEFA Champions League matchday. During a game for Al Nassr against rivals Al Hilal, Ronaldo appeared to jump up against an opponent in order to win a header, but instead of attempting to make a play on the ball, he wrapped his opponent in a headlock and flung him down on the pitch. The Portuguese soccer legend received a yellow card for his actions. Making matters worse for Ronaldo, Al Nassr's 2-0 loss to Al Hilal put the team 6 points out of first place in the Saudi Pro League table, with leaders Al Ittihad having a game in hand. However, Ronaldo likely got some solace from his old team thousands of miles away in London. Real Madrid forward Rodrygo scored twice against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge to send his team back to the Champions League semi-finals, and on his first goal, he did the iconic shoot celebration of the man he refers to as his soccer idol, Ronaldo. Unrecognizable, Chelsea out of CL as legend sets unwanted 118-year club first. Real Madrid cruised into the Champions League semi-finals with a 2-0 win against Chelsea on Tuesday that wrapped up an emphatic 4-0 aggregate triumph, effectively ending the struggling London club's season. The home team, with Frank Lampard back in the dugout for a second spell, came into the match at Stamford Bridge with form and history against them. They started brightly, playing enterprising football, but rued two huge missed chances in the first half that would have heaped pressure on the defending champions. It means a fourth straight loss for Lampard since he returned as an interim manager following the dismissal of Graham Potter. According to The Athletic, it is the first time in Chelsea's 118-year history that a manager has lost his first 4 games in charge. The Spanish giants made Chelsea pay for their profligacy when Rodrygo scored in the 58th minute and he doubled his tally with 10 minutes to go. Real Madrid will likely play Manchester City in the semi-finals, with Pep Guardiola's team 3-0 up against Bayern Munich after the first leg of their last 8 tie. But Chelsea are contemplating the final weeks of a disastrous campaign despite a staggering spend of more than £500 million in the first year of the club's new ownership. Already out of both domestic cups, they are languishing in 11th place in the Premier League and look unlikely to qualify for European football next season. Frank Lampard still hungry for strong end to season despite Chelsea Champions League defeat. Frank Lampard declared that he is still hungry for a strong end to the season despite Chelsea's elimination from the Champions League at the hands of Real Madrid on Tuesday. Despite a positive performance where the London side had several chances to cut the 2-0 deficit from the first leg, a second-half brace from Rodrygo confirmed the victory for the Spanish side and ensured that Real would leave Stamford Bridge as victors. However, despite the defeat, Lampard, who became the first Chelsea manager in the club's 118-year history to lose their first 4 games in charge, vowed that he will not go easy on his side and wants to maintain positive performances until the end of the season. He said, "You're playing for Chelsea. Every game you play, you have to give everything. I've only been back here for 2 weeks, so I am hungry. I won't let anyone off the hook in terms of seeing this season out. It has to be the opposite. The standard, from today, that cannot drop. That is the one message I want us to settle on." Chelsea are next in action against Brentford next Wednesday in the Premier League. Ancelotti hails Courtois' heroics after Real Madrid reach Champions League semi-finals. Carlo Ancelotti believed Thibaut Courtois' performance was critical for Real Madrid in their Champions League elimination of Chelsea. The former Blues goalkeeper enjoyed a fine game in Tuesday's second leg as Rodrygo's second-half double helped Madrid to a 2-0 win and 4-0 aggregate quarter-final triumph. Before the Brazilian found the net, Courtois had been imperative to denying Chelsea a lifeline in the contest with a superb stop to deny Marc Cucurella. Speaking afterwards, Ancelotti lauded his goalkeeper's contribution while paying tribute to his side for how they soaked up the pressure at Stamford Bridge. They were ahead on the scoreboard, mentally, he told Movie Star. The save was very important. In the second half, we managed better, we had more space. We knew that we had to suffer in this type of game. Chelsea tried everything, they created problems for us. It has been a complete game, and a deserving tie. Rodrygo echoed his coach's comments, lauding Courtois while touching on the pressures of ensuring Madrid live up to expectations with a semi-final appearance. "We suffered today at the beginning, but there, Courtois, was again to save us, he added. We have the obligation to reach the semi-finals every year. We've achieved it every year since I've been here. I don't know what happens to me with this competition, but it is very special, and I am very happy. Madrid will face either Manchester City or Bayern Munich in the last four, with the Premier League side favourites to join them after a hefty 3-0 first-leg win. AC Milan eliminate Napoli to advance to Champions League semi-finals. AC Milan advanced to the UEFA Champions League semi-finals after a 2-1 aggregate win over Napoli on Tuesday. The Rossoneri made history by defeating rivals Napoli in Tuesday night's European Cup clash. AC Milan have progressed to the semi-final of the 2022-23 UEFA Champions League after defeating Napoli on Tuesday night. The Rossoneri defied the odds to eliminate their Serie A rivals after drawing 1-1 at the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium and securing a 2-1 aggregate win. Milan clinched their ticket thanks to Olivier Giroud's goal, which resulted from a brilliant counter-attack initiated by Rafael Leao ahead of the halftime break. Prior to that, the 36-year-old French striker had missed a penalty that was won by Leao inside the first 25 minutes. In the second half, Napoli had a couple of opportunities to get back into the tie but failed to do so. Playmaker Kvaratskhelia failed to convert a crucial spot kick in the 81st minute, his third miss of the Champions League campaign, before Victor Osimhen got the equalizer in the 93rd minute. Needless to say, it was too little too late for the Nigerian striker's side, who crashed out of the Champions League after failing to manage a win. The result condemned Luciano Spalletti to a new low, as it was the third time in his managerial career that he had failed to progress from the semi-final of Europe's elite competition. For AC Milan, the night's feat meant that they have reached the semi-finals of the Champions League for the first time since 2006-07. Having taken their last four qualification count to 7, the Rossoneri join Juventus as the Italian team with the most participations in this phase of the competition. In the 21st minute, AC Milan were awarded a penalty after Mario Rui's foul on Rafael Leao at Stadio Diego Armando Maradona. But Olivier Giroud's penalty was saved by goalkeeper Alex Merritt. AC Milan broke the deadlock with a close-range finish by Giroud on a quick counterattack as Leao dribbled past opponents' defenders to chip in with a brilliant assist in the 43rd minute. In the 82nd minute, Napoli wasted a great chance to level the match against AC Milan as Georgian forward Kvaratskhelia missed a crucial penalty at home. Napoli found a stoppage-time header from Victor Osimhen, but it was not enough to win for the next stage, so the second leg of the quarter-finals ended with a 1-1 result in Naples. I had a 6-hour dinner with Thomas Tuchel and Pep Guardiola. It was like seeing Plato meet Socrates. Bayern Munich's former technical director Michael Reschke recalls the meeting of two football geniuses. It was like watching Plato come to meet Socrates, great philosophers of our time. It was unbelievable. Michael Reschke still vividly remembers the day he brought Thomas Tuchel and Pep Guardiola together. As the then Bayern Munich technical director, Reschke was familiar with Guardiola, coach of the German club's first team, but he had also followed Thomas Tuchel's career, an up-and-coming coach who had impressed at Mainz and was, at the time, on a sabbatical. It was like watching Plato come to meet Socrates, great philosophers of our time. It was unbelievable. Michael Reschke still vividly remembers the day he brought Thomas Tuchel and Pep Guardiola together. As the then Bayern Munich technical director, Reschke was familiar with Guardiola, coach of the German club's first team, but he had also followed Thomas Tuchel's career, an up-and-coming coach who had impressed at Mainz and was, at the time, on a sabbatical. They met at 7:30 p.m. in Schumann's, the famed Munich cocktail bar frequented by arty types and German high society, and left at 1 a.m. Like the pupil and the master, they talked football non-stop. Charged by the conversation, they agreed to meet again. Then, sat in the pillared chamber of Munich's Brenner restaurant, salt cellars, cutlery, and wine glasses were shifted animatedly around the table to illustrate their conversation. Reschke, a man of over 40 years top-flight football experience, was captivated. You can imagine, for someone who loves football, it was an unbelievable moment, Reschke told Mail Sport. The detail, the questions, the thought processes. We philosophized about tactics, the game in general, and while I was mainly listening, I am certain there have been very few conversations of this level. It was like Plato coming to meet Socrates. We had a brief, "Hi, how's the family? Good? Great. Let's talk football." We were there for 6 hours. They both have a photographic memory about games from years before. It's phenomenal. Not just about one moment but how it unfolded, who passed to who, what it led to and why. Thomas was alive with questions. Pep is a true genius. I have worked with many great football people, but he is on a different level. He opens your eyes wider and he brings the best out of people. Even the chefs in the restaurant showed their best side. We had the best fish dishes, I can still remember. Why Thomas Tuchel feels Bayern Munich wasted the chance to turn Sadio Mane punching Leroy Sane into positive energy. Bayern Munich coach Thomas Tuchel feels his club missed the chance to use the spat between the two teammates to their advantage. Players clashed after City defeat. Guardiola said bust up could help. But Tuchel feels Bayern have already moved on. Tempers flared at Bayern after their defeat to Manchester City in the Champions League, with Sadio Mane punching Leroy Sane after the match. Mane was suspended and fined for his behavior but is available for the return fixture. City boss Pep Guardiola has said the bust-up could help Bayern ahead of the second leg against his team, but Tuchel feels the Bavarian Giants have already moved on. Pep Guardiola handed Major Phil Foden boost ahead of pivotal Bayern Munich tie. Manchester City forward Phil Foden will be available for selection for the return leg of his side's Champions League quarter-final tie against Bayern Munich. City took a major step towards their third Champions League semi-final in 3 years with a convincing 3-0 beating of Thomas Tuchel's men in the opening leg at the Etihad Stadium last week. Goals from Rodrygo, Bernardo Silva and Erling Haaland have put the Premier League champions in the driving seat ahead of Wednesday's return leg in Munich. It was business as usual for City at the weekend as they dispatched Leicester City to keep up pace with Premier League leaders Arsenal, whom they face in their next league outing. The Blues, fighting on 3 fronts, also have an FA Cup semi-final trip to Wembley on horizon as the chase for a potential treble continues for Manchester City, who have won each of their last 10 games across all competitions heading into their upcoming meeting with Bayern. City were handed a major selection boost for the second leg when Phil Foden was spotted in first-team training in the build-up to the game. Speaking ahead of a return to the touchline at the Allianz Arena, Guardiola confirmed that Foden will be available for selection in Munich but will not feature from the off. "We are delighted. It is definitely good news for us," said the 52-year-old on Foden's return to full fitness. He, Foden, has trained just one training session, but we decided that he will travel with us, to Germany, and be on the bench. Of course not 90 minutes, against Bayern Munich. Because of his physicality, he, Foden, doesn't need many training sessions to be fit. With a possible 14 games to go before the season finishes should City go all the way in the FA Cup and Champions League, Guardiola will need all the ammunition he can get in the run-in. The City manager added, he, Foden, is important not just for tomorrow, Wednesday, but for the tight schedule we have ahead of us. Real Madrid progressed to the Champions League semi-final at the expense of Chelsea on Tuesday and will face the winner of Manchester City vs Bayern Munich in the penultimate stage of the competition. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like and share. See you again with more news. Bye for now.